All my exes live in Texas. No, I'm joking. But ex means without, right? So if you say, Dean, do you have an ex-spouse? You're saying, I say yes, I'm no longer trading with my spouse attached, right? If you say, when's the last day you were married? Timeline's pretty important from a test perspective. That would be the day before the divorce, right? First date I'm single is the date the divorce is effective. Now, on our FINRA exams, there are three X dates that are very important for us. The first of those is X rights. X rights means the stock is no longer trading with the rights attached. You can buy the rights separately from the stock. X legal. That's a muni bond without the legal opinion available, right? It's trading without the legal opinion available, X legal. And the third and most important X date, X is allowed without, is the X dividend date. That's the first date on which the stock no longer trades with the dividend attached. That's a function of the Uniform Practice Code, not the board of directors. The board of directors sets three of the dates: the declared date, the record date, and the payable date. And if they say they're going to look at their shareholder list this Thursday, and if your name is on the list, you get the dividend. And, because the shareholders is always changing, right? So Thursday, they're going to look at it. If you're there, you get the dividend. Well, trade date, again, a function of the Uniform Practice Code, is when we agree to terms. And then settlement date is T+1. That's when ownership changes hands. That's when the buyer's name goes on the shareholder list, the seller's name goes off. Right. So if the record date is this Thursday and I buy it Wednesday, trade date +1. Thursday, seller's name comes off the list, buyer name goes on, and I'm entitled to that dividend. If I buy it Thursday, this Thursday, the record date, trade date, agree to terms. Friday, Friday is when I actually show up on the shareholder list. I'm not a shareholders of record on Thursday. I do not get the dividend. There are other dates, right? Friday, Saturdays, Monday. I don't get it after that, right? If you say, Dean, the first date you were single is different than all the other dates that have followed the divorce since, right? So in this example, Wednesday would be the last date I could buy the stock and be on the list and get the dividend. Last date I'm entitled to dividend. And the X date, first date, I would buy the stock and not be entitled to the dividend would be the record date. The record date, the X date are one and the same. The record date is the board of directors, and X date emanates from that. It's a function of the Uniform Practice Code. A couple questions around that, right? We shouldn't give you an artificial sense of urgency by telling you to buy a Wednesday because the stock is typically going to go down by the amount of the dividend, right? Because it's no longer within the corporate shell. On a bad draw on Series 7, you might get asked about the function of the declared date and how it affects working capital. It decreases it. Payable, it has no effect. So there's a couple questions around the sequence of events. Declared, record payable, set by the board, X date, function of the Uniform Practice Code, first date on which the stock no longer trades with a dividend attached. X and record are one and the same. And remember, X is Latin for without. So always good to have a little Latin in your vocabulary. Remember, inch by inch, X dividend dates are cent, yard by yard, X dividend dates are hard.